Hello, it's Sonia here with the Pretty Stitch. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time joining me, I'm so happy that you're here. And today is another Wednesday video, and every Wednesday I feature a stitch of the week. So it might be an individual stitch or a stitch pattern. And today we are going to be doing a cable stitch pattern. I'm going to be doing just a basic braided cable. And to do that, I am going to be using my eye hook or 5.5mm, and I have this awful scratchy, this is like a decate weight yarn, and you can use whatever hook size you have or whatever yarn weight you have. I do suggest, I think it would be easier if you've never done a cable like this before, to use a yarn that's a little bit, at least decate weight or heavier. I think if you just, broke out the lace yarn, it might be a little bit frustrating for you. And, use, if you have decate weight yarn, you could use a G hook, or you could use, which is 4.25mm, or an H hook, which is a 5mm. I have an I hook, 5.5mm. I mean, those are all good choices. Okay, so I'm just going to work a basic braided cable. There's different ways of working cables. There's probably different ways of making a braided cable, but I'm just going to show you a way that I know how to do it. So I'm going to start off with a foundation row of single crochet. So I will be crocheting or chaining. We're going to chain 9 to get started. So here I have my 9 chains, and then I'm just going to single crochet across. You could also work a row of foundation single crochet too if you wanted to, but we're going to work, I want to have 8 stitches. Oops, there we go. Yeah, this yarn is pretty horrible. It's very scratchy, but good for swatching. That good practice yarn. Alright, so we have our 8 single crochet. We worked 9 chains, but we have 8 single crochet to get started. So we're going to chain 3 and turn, and it will count as a double crochet, but it's not going to be part of the cable. Alright, so I have my chain 3, my double crochet, and I'm just going to double crochet across the rest of my single crochet. So I will have a total of 8 double crochet. So these first couple rows, we're just getting started with the foundation. You want to have a good foundation so that your cables look great. And we could also have started with a row of double crochet, but I actually incorporate single crochet when I do this braided cable, so I kind of wanted to start off with single crochet. And you'll understand soon what I mean by that. It probably doesn't make much sense to you right now. And there we go. Made that a little tight there. Okay, so we have our 8 double crochet for row 2. And row 3, I'm going to chain 1 and turn, and we are going to single crochet just across. So I'm single crocheting right in that same stitch, and I'm going to continue to single crochet across, and I will have again a total of 8 single crochet. So nothing to see here right now. It's kind of boring, but again, we're just getting set up here. And then row 4, it'll be the fun part. We'll start the actual cabling. Okay, so we've got our single crochet there, our single crochet row. So now for row 4, we are going to chain 3 and turn, and the actual cabling is going to commence. We are going to start. So this is going to count as a stitch here, but our cable stitches are going to be worked off of these 6 stitches. So the ones on the end, they're just border stitches, so they're just going to be basic double crochet. But the cable stitches are going to be made up of triple crochet. So to get started, we're going to yarn over twice. You're going to skip this stitch, and we are actually not going to be working in the single crochet for the cable part. You will work in the single crochet on the ends here, but we're going to be skipping the single crochet. So we're going to skip these first 2 double crochet here, and I'm going to work a front post triple crochet around the next double crochet here. So there's our first one. We're going to yarn over twice. We're going to work a front post triple crochet around the next one. Okay, so we have gotten started there. So now I'm going to yarn over twice. Now I'm going to be working in these 2 double crochet that I skipped, and we are going to work behind. Sometimes you work in front, but these we're going to actually work behind. So it's a little bit of hook gymnastics. So I usually just kind of use my finger to kind of push the yarn back, and I'm going to stick my hook behind these guys, and we're going to hook that first one there. And you can move things around, you can get a little rough with it, it's not going to hurt anything, and work a triple crochet. And when you have it on your lap, it's a little bit easier. I'm kind of working from a slightly awkward position. So there's our first one. We're going to yarn over twice. We're going to do the same thing for this one here. We're working behind, and we're going to catch that guy. There we go. And you can push these guys away. These are nice sturdy stitches, so they're not going to, you know, get messed up or anything. You don't have to worry about that. Alright, so there we go. And it's not going to look like much at first. It's probably going to look a little bit of a hot mess, but that's okay. Once you get a couple rows in, then it starts to take shape. So we're yarning over twice, and now we're just going to work front post triple crochet around these 2 guys. So yarning over twice and front post triple crochet. And the reason why I like to do my braided cable like this, I do this a lot if I'm working in rows, is it's all front post stitches. I don't enjoy doing back post stitches that as much. I mean, they're not too hard, but I just find it. Now the last stitch we're working a regular double crochet. I find it easier, especially when working behind and stuff. If I don't have to do it back post, I'm going to do that. So these are all, when working this cable, it's going to be all front post triple crochet, which I find to be a little easier. So I'm going to be chaining 1 and turning. So that's why I just work the row of single crochet, so I don't have to, like, you know, fiddle and faddle with the back post. But that's just me. I guess I'm a little bit of a lazy crocheter, I don't know. Alright, so I chained 1 and turned. This is the wrong side, obviously, and we're just single crocheting across. So for my method of doing this braided cable, all wrong side is single crochet all the way across. So 8 single crochet. And if you have trouble seeing where the stitches are because they're twisted, you can turn it towards you. You can kind of see the top of the stitch. See right there of where to work. As I said before, it does look a little bit of a hot mess in the beginning. Okay, and then we need to work a single crochet on top of that chain 3. If I can get it, goodness me. Tight city. That's my own fault. Okay, so that's the wrong side there. So we're going to chain 3, turn, we're on ready for row 6. So row 6, we're going to yarn over twice. And as I said before, we're not working in these single crochet, only on the ends here. So we are going to work a triple crochet around these first 2 guys. So we're not crossing over anything for these first 2 stitches. So the braided cable is kind of in 2 parts for the triple the front post triple crochet part. Okay, so we have that. So we're going to yarn over twice again. We're going to skip these 2 guys right here, and we're going to work around these 2. So I'm working front post triple crochet around the first one, and front post triple crochet around this one. So now we have to go back and we have to work around these two that we skipped. So the nice thing is you don't have to work behind, you just work in front, which is a whole lot easier. So just pop your hook around there and work that post stitch. Okay, so you can kind of see it starting a little bit, and we're just working a double crochet in our last stitch there in that single crochet. So now this is when the repeat begins. So you're going to be repeating rows 3, which is just a single crochet row, and then row 4, which is when you work behind, row 5, a single crochet row, and then row 6. So I'm chaining 1, turning my work, and we're going to single crochet across. This is now row 7. And you can see I'm kind of moving, I'm kind of spreading these stitches apart so that I can, because they do get kind of twisted, so I can get my single crochet in there. And I'm not even thinking about it. I've done a lot of cable type things, so I'm just kind of used to it. Kind of just helps to force them into place. And you just might want to count your single crochets too to make sure that you didn't miss a stitch, because you know when you are crossing, sometimes it can get a little confusing. Okay, so now we're going to chain 3 and turn. So now we're going to go repeat row 4. So we're going to yarn over twice, and we're going to work around these two guys right here. Front post triple crochet, and then this is when the braid starts to kind of pop out a little bit. Once you get a couple rows in, then it starts to take shape and you're like, oh, there it is. Instead of in the beginning you're like, yeah, this looks kind of bad. When I was first learning it, I was just like, I don't like this too much. Alright, so I've yarned over, working behind, and it took some practice to, you know, work behind. I actually find cabling with knitting to be actually far easier, to believe it or not. And I am not the best knitter. I am a far superior crocheter, but with cabling, I prefer knitted cables, actually doing them. Like, I think they both look nice, whether they're crocheted or knitted. But as far as execution, like knitted cables to me, hands down, are a lot easier. But it doesn't mean that I can't, you know, learn to do these well either. So there we go. And now I am going to just work my front post triple crochets around these guys here. So see, there you can see the braid starting to take place. And don't forget the double crochet on the end. Now you don't have to do it like this, but if you're just learning how to, you know the mechanics of the cable, then I just find it to be a little bit easier. Okay, so I'm going to chain 1 and turn and just single crochet across. Yeah, there are, I mean, you could certainly cable on the back too where you wouldn't have it looking quite like this, but again, I try to avoid the back posts. Now the nice thing is if you're cabling in the round, you don't have to worry about back posts, because, unless it depends on the pattern, but I have a hat pattern with some braided cables, and it's made in the round, and I don't have to worry about the back post for the braided cable part. So I can certainly link that below if you would like to check it out. Alright, so now we're going to chain 3 and turn. So we're going to do the second part of the braided cable here. So this would technically be the repeat of row 6. So we're going to yarn over. So the first part is when you work behind. The second part you're working in these first 2. So just, this is, to me this is the easy row for the braided cable. So front post triple crochet around the first one, second one, and you can certainly incorporate the braided cable in, you know, a whole bunch of different stitch patterns, hats. I mean, I made a hat using it. You could use a sweater, blanket, you know, the sky's the limit. Okay, so now we're going to skip these 2 guys and work in the next. This one keeps wanting to flip up and you can't see what I'm doing. And we're going to front post triple crochet around the next one. And just post stitches, you're working literally around the stitch so that it gives it a raised effect. Doesn't necessarily have to be a cable when you're doing a front post stitch. You can just, you know, add some, you know, more interest to your pattern. Alright, so now we need to go back and work in these 2 guys that we skipped, and I find it easier because we don't have to work behind, just work in front. And then can't forget that guy. So again, the cable is made up of 6 stitches, at least this one. I mean, there's certainly, you know, as I said before, other ways of doing a braided cable, but this is a way that I like to do. And I'm just working my double crochet in my last stitch there, and oops, come on, in that single crochet. So now you can start to see the braid starting to take shape. So I'm going to work a couple more rows so you can really see how it's going to start to pop out. So what you'll want to do is you're just going to repeat, as I said before, rows 3 through 6. So 3 is in this pattern the odd row, that's the wrong side, that's single crochet row. So all wrong side is single crochet, and then the first part of the braided cable you skip these 2 guys, front post triple crochet, and then you work behind, and then you go back and work these last 2. Then the next row you just single crochet, and then it would be the repeat of row 6. You work these 2 guys first, skip these 2 guys, front post triple crochet, and then you just work your front post triple crochet around the ones you skipped in the front. So I'll work a couple more rows so you can really see the cable, the braid starting to pop. Alright, so I worked a couple more rows so you can see the cable starting to take shape there, and I ended on a single crochet row, and I also ended on the row 6. So I had just completed the row 6 part of the cable here, the braid. So I hope you enjoyed this stitch of the week, and I thank you so much for watching.